Hi everybody, my name is Jenn Quinn and I'm so happy today to be sharing with you some important and helpful information about spending time with people with dementia or memory impairment, or sometimes people refer to it in general as Alzheimer's disease. And I bet you've heard about this topic and wondered how you could have a positive impact. Well, my young friends, you have a special opportunity to do just that and make a very big difference in the lives of people who have memory challenges. And my goal today is to be able to give you some tips that will make it relaxing and fun for everyone. So when I mention the words dementia or Alzheimer's or memory impairment, what I mean is that you're going to be meeting people who have a disease which affects their brain. Some of you may know a little bit about this and maybe have a family member, a neighbor, or somebody that has a memory impairment. And a lot of times people do call it Alzheimer's. What I do want to do is make sure that I really clearly explain that even though we're using the word disease, it's not contagious. This is something that is a part of who the person is and what their brain functioning is. And I definitely want to be able to kind of give you an overview of a fun way to remember, the different words that I'm using. I've already used the word memory impairment, I've used the word dementia, and I've used the word Alzheimer's. And that could be kind of confusing to hear all of those terms. So what I'd like to do is to use a fun way to learn these two words and that I think you're going to remember. So, how many of you out there like ice cream? Well, I figured a few of you do. Maybe your favorite is Kimball's, maybe your favorite is Sully's. Kimball's personally gets my vote. But I'd like to have you think of the word dementia as ice cream and Alzheimer's disease as chocolate ice cream. And what I mean by this is that there are many different flavors and many different types of dementia, and Alzheimer's happens to be one of them. So since there are so many different types or flavors, I'm going to use the word dementia throughout the rest of our discussion here moving forward. And I want to describe to you a little bit about what that is. So dementia is when people have trouble remembering, thinking, talking, taking care of themselves. It's actually a disease which impacts and affects their brain. And this is important for you to know because you may notice when you're working with people with dementia that they're going to maybe act in some different ways that might seem odd to you. And I want you to feel really comfortable with how to be able to work with that. So if they do have trouble remembering, thinking, talking, and eventually, taking care of themselves, I want you to also remember that people can still do so many, many things for themselves, and that's what your time is going to focus on. So in this case, you're going to be focusing on doing an activity and making a new friendship with somebody who has dementia. You're going to be going in and you're going to be spending time with people who live in a place that is their home, and they're living there because they need some special support due to their dementia. So because I mentioned all the different flavors, I do want to make mention that you do not need to know which type of dementia someone has. That is sort of the job and the part of the folks that are taking care of these people with dementia. Your job is to be able to go in and spend time volunteering and give them the gift of making them happy no matter what type of dementia they have. So now that we know what dementia is and the part of the body that it affects and that people still have so much that they're able to do, I do want to give you an idea of what it might feel like to have dementia. So I'd like you to use your imagination now. I know that you're very good at that. So please close your eyes and imagine that you're on a class trip in a foreign land and you get separated from your class. Typically, you'd look for something familiar or someone familiar, but you don't see anything. So how does that make you feel? I'll give you a few moments just to think about that. And I'd love for you to tell the person sitting next to you one word about describing how that makes you feel. So I'm going to pause right here for a few moments. So because I'm not right there, I'm going to make some guesses at the way that you may have answered. If you were in a foreign land and you got separated from your class and you didn't recognize anything familiar around you, any people or any places, my guess is you might feel scared, you might feel mad, you might be confused, overwhelmed, alone, sad, worried. Well, that is what it feels like to have dementia when things are not familiar to you. So it's definitely a very difficult disease, but you're going to be able to have a way to be able to help. And I want to help you now be best prepared to go in and make a person's day brighter and let you know some of the things that you might notice and then what you're going to be able to do when working with somebody. So most of the time, people will think of dementia and they will think of the fact that sometimes people will forget words, they'll forget places, they might have trouble finding words to use, and they might also repeat themselves over and over or tell a story repeatedly. So for someone without memory impairment, dementia, affecting their brain, that might sound unusual or odd or strange to you. And you're thinking maybe to yourself, well, what if that happens? What do I do if somebody were to repeat themselves and say things over and over again? So let's review some of the best ways that you're going to be able to communicate and interact with somebody should those things happen and make you feel comfortable when you're there doing your volunteering. So the very most important thing, the easiest thing, and everybody carries this with them, is to bring a smile. So everybody give your best smile. Show everybody in the room what your very best smile is. So that is a gift, without even saying a word, to show somebody that you are a warm, caring person and you would like to be able to, spend some time with them. Everyone loves being smiled at. So that's the very first thing that I want you to think of doing. Before any words come out, before any actions happen, just smile. It's going to give that person a very safe feeling. And it's going to tell them that you're happy to be there too. Another important thing is to use eye contact. You want to use your eyes to be able to express that you're happy to be there and that you're being respectful and that you think that they're important. Using someone's name, if you happen to know it, is also a really great idea to do too. Using someone's name and eye contact and smiling, all ways to make people feel special and important. Another idea is to make sure that you're speaking clearly and you're speaking slowly enough for someone to be able to understand what you're saying, but also to give them the time to answer. You want to give them time to answer any questions that you may be asking them. It might take a little bit longer for their brain to be able to process the information, so I think it's always a really polite thing to do anyways, but certainly with someone with memory impairment and with dementia. And then when you're listening to them, pay close attention, and you want to be able to show that respect, that you really think what they have to say is important. So let's go back to one of the bigger questions and maybe worries that you might have. What if someone isn't making sense? Maybe talking about being in a different time or a different place. So I'd like to talk to you now about time travel. Do any of you know what time travel is? Now, I thought a few of you out there might know what time travel is. And with people with dementia, you're going to notice that they might travel back in time to a different place, to a different year, because that might bring some good, happy memories to them. And it's something that's important to them. So that again might seem odd, but to them, that is where their brain is taking them, and that's where their current reality is. That's where their here and now is. So you might need to do some time traveling. The other thing you might need to do is be ready to go on an adventure. How many people out there like adventures? Well, good. Even more of you like adventures than like time traveling. So how about we do both? We might need to time travel and go on an adventure with our friends who have dementia. So let me give you an example of this. You might be talking to someone who think it's the year 2004 and the Red Sox just won the World Series. Well, you and I know that it's not 2004 and the Red Sox did not just win the World Series. But, that's their reality, that's where they are. So how are you going to jump into that reality? Well, maybe you know a little bit about the Red Sox. So something you could do is chat a little bit about it. Maybe you know something about the big win. But maybe you're a person who doesn't know much about baseball, or this year is a very long time ago, probably predating a lot of your births. So what are you going to do now? Well, you might be asked to do a little bit of acting. You might need to do some playing along to make the person feel more comfortable. Maybe you could talk about Wally the Green Monster, or that you hope to go to a Red Sox game someday. But what happens if you don't even know those words? Maybe you don't even know about Wally, or maybe even that the Red Sox is a baseball team. So what would you do? In any circumstance like this, you could ask the person questions. You can show them interest. You can actually learn from them something about the reality that they happen to be in at that moment. So the idea is no matter what, you're going to be able to jump into a time travel, go on an adventure, and maybe do a little bit of acting too. You're given full permission to do so. And it may seem a little uncomfortable. You might be unsure about doing this, but don't worry, that's normal. It's not always easy to jump into the time travel and the adventure and the acting. But again, you're given permission to do it. If you're at a point where you don't feel comfortable doing it, it's always okay to go ahead and politely excuse yourself and maybe go find an adult that you came with and talk to them, get a few suggestions, and see how you can move forward. So as long as you're ultimately treating somebody with dignity and respect, that is what's going to make it the most successful experience. So what I'd like to review is that even though someone's brain is changing and some things may be difficult, like remembering what year it is, like remembering a word that they want to use, these people are still so intelligent. They're ready to engage with you, and they have a lot of talents and stories that they want to share with you. So your focus and our focus is going to be on what the person has to share and to enjoy the time together. No matter what, just do your best. Bring your smile, bring your eyes, bring your warm heart, because you being there is going to be the very best part of their day. So just be your usual caring self and think about what you can do to help someone's day be brighter, and you're going to have a wonderful experience. So I think that you're going to be in great shape to go in and to help our friends with dementia and to really give them the support that they need, and you're going to walk away feeling pretty great. So thank you for joining me, because I really think that you're a big part of our future in knowing how to be able to help, work, interact, and respect people with dementia. So I am very proud of you that my young friends are going to be taking this on and going through this and volunteering. So good luck and have fun.